All right, it's episode 2 of Ant and Jay Save America. My name is Jay. His name is Ant. And Ant, what's going on, buddy? First episode was okay. It can get better. It will get better. But what's going on?
I don't know. I had a pretty good weekend. Got a nice little sunburn. I like to pretend I got tanned, but no, I got sunburned. Forgot the sunblock when we went out for 18 yesterday. So that kind of came back to bite me in the ass today.
What you play golf? What's your handicap? Like, what are we working with?
Uh oh oh. I mean, I wouldn't say I play golf. I hit a ball with a club, and eventually it finds the bottom of the hole. Now, whether how many strokes it takes me to get there, let's just not be counting.
All right, fair enough.
Oh, it's definitely in the high double digits. Let me just say that.
All right, fair enough. Fair enough. All right. As always, we're going to go through some topics like we do. First up, sad news. Jimmie Johnson, NASCAR great. His in-laws apparently killed each other. One of them killed them and the spouse, the grandson, and themselves. Man, it's absolutely bonkers crazy.
That's insane. Do you actually have the story, or
Yeah, for
Jimmie
sure.
Johnson's in-laws and their 11-year-old grandson found dead in murder-suicide? Police say. Holy
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
So is it like his wife's parents?
Yes, yeah. You want to read it? Good.
The parents and nephew of race car driver Jimmie Johnson's wife, Chandra Janway Johnson, were killed Monday at a home in Muskogee, Oklahoma, according to a new news release from the Muskogee Police Department. A police spokesperson told CNN it was a suspected murder-suicide. That's actually why you shouldn't get married. Like, seriously, like half of all murders are from your spouse. It's
Well,
insane.
as somebody that's been married twice and divorced twice, I wouldn't recommend it.
Well,
But
I like to say since I listen to true crime podcasts, I'm a expert in this subject, as is, the other 100 million people in this country who are addicted to true crime podcasts. And like literally every other one is, some dude or some woman who murdered their wife or husband. So it's almost like till death do us part. Oh, well, I'm going to be your death.
you know what I'll never understand though? The older people that do it. Like, why? Like how long have you been with that guy? What changed now? So on Monday, police received a 911 call from a woman who said someone had a gun and then hung up, according to the release. When officers arrived on scene, they saw a subject laying in the hallway inside the front door, the release said. Shortly after arriving, officers heard another gunshot from further inside the house.
So they shot each other while the officers were there?
I guess.
They shot themselves.
Yeah, I think it says authorities identified the people who died as 69-year-old Jack Janway and his wife, Terry Janway, along with their 11-year-old grandson, Dalton.
Why did they kill the kid?
So I think the wife killed her husband and the grandkid and then killed herself, I believe, is what this is saying.
I don't know. That's insane. Like, why would you kill the grandson? Like, what did he do?
Right. So NASCAR issued a statement Tuesday saying we're saddened by the tragic death of members of Chandra Johnson's family. The entire family, NASCAR family, extends deep support, condolences during the difficult time. Now, this affects me kind of, because obviously I bet on NASCAR for a living.
And so you're thinking about how this affects your NASCAR?
No, I'm not. But what I'm saying is that Jimmie Johnson was in the field on Sunday for the Chicago street race, and he was 250-1. And now he won't be in the race. Obviously, he's not going to race because it's a tragedy. It's so sad. Honestly, I don't care about the people. It's sad about the kid. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
11 year old
it's almost,
11-year-old kid. If you want to kill yourself when you're 70, have at it, man. Do you? Whatever. But you're gonna kill an 11-year-old kid. That. I have a 14-year-old daughter. That's tough.
yeah, I mean, honestly, like a couple that's like almost 70 doing a murder suicide, it's kind of funny. But like the 11-year-old kid, it's like it's kind of hard to make fun of this story when you got like a dead kid. It's like that's just kind of like a standard thing in society is it's just really hard to make fun of dead children, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's not a good look when you do it.
Dead old people are a dime a dozen, but dead 11-year-olds, man. So why would they kill the kid though? I
Correct.
just don't get
So
that. Like obviously you would want to kill each other. You've been married for 40 years, you're probably sick of each other. And you don't want to get a divorce, so you're like, all right, I'll just kill him. And obviously, I don't want to spend the last 10 years of my life in prison, so I'll kill myself.
I would assume like she probably. I think it was her that killed them. It could have been the other way around. I don't know. But I thought I read something that said it was her. Either way, whoever was the person that committed the murder, I'm sure they probably left a note. I would think. I would assume more details will come out at some point, but it's just really shitty. It's sad.
Yeah, I don't. I don't really have anything else I could say about this. Like, I try to be lighthearted and funny, but I'm like, I don't know, that dead kid's really making it hard.
All right, so this will make you happy. This will make you happy because this made me happy. And that is that actions have consequences.
What do you mean?
Why do I say that, you ask? And
Yeah, what do you mean?
allow me to tell you. So, drunk drivers in Texas who killed parents of a child will now be required to pay child support.
Oh, well, that's
Listen, man, you don't want to see anybody get killed, obviously, right? But if you're going to be dumb enough to get in a car when you're drunk and you kill somebody and they happen to have a 3-year-old child, you should be responsible to pay child support for that kid because you just snuffed their parents out.
My question is, I like the sound of it, but how's it practical?
What do you mean?
Like, I do like this. I do like this idea, but how's it practical? Because if you murder somebody through drunk driving, you're in prison for a long time, and prisoners make like 10 cents a day in their slave labor. So, like,
I guess that's a fair point. That's a fair point. I'm not entirely sure how that's practical. Let's read the article.
Yeah, read the article so we could get to, because I like the idea. That's actually a pretty inventive idea, and I don't have anything against it. I just want to know how it works because it's something. I mean,
it was rolling too.
Vehicle. You get behind the wheel of a car drunk and you murder someone. I mean, you're going to get like 20 years probably. I would imagine. Maybe 10 with parole. I don't know.
I have no idea. So it said convicted drunk drivers who killed both parents of a child under 18 years old will now be required to pay support under a bill signed into law by Governor Greg Abbott earlier this month. I'm not a big fan of Greg Abbott, but good for you, Greg. Under House Bill 393.
Did something decent?
Yeah, the person convicted of intoxication manslaughter of both the child's parents will have to make monthly payments to the child's legal guardians. Oh, okay. Well, obviously, I don't know. The law doesn't apply in situations where an adult's parents are killed in a collision. That makes sense. The amount of money owed will be determined by an array of factors, including the standard of living the child is accustomed to, their physical and emotional condition, and the child's educational needs, among other expenses related.
The standard of living a child is accustomed to. So basically, they're saying rich kids with dead parents get more money than poor kids with dead parents. Is that what they're saying? The standard of living they're accustomed to?
Yeah, correct. So to shed a little light, I got a video here actually.
All right. I was just going to say real quick.
I don't know.
I was just going to say real quick, even in laws that sound good on the surface, they still find a way to have the rich fuck over the poor.
I mean, yeah, that happens a lot.
Well, think of the wording that they just said. The standard of living they're accustomed to, which basically means like, well, you got a 12-year-old of parents who are millionaires in the suburbs. He's accustomed to new Nikes every 6 months, which, nothing wrong with that. He's accustomed to having all the new video games. He's accustomed to having iPads and.
Well, then that guy or woman is in trouble.
He's accustomed to expecting a BMW when he turns 16 versus, a kid whose parents, he grows up in a trailer park. I mean, he's accustomed to getting his ass kicked by his dad drunk on Busch Light. I mean, what do you mean? So they're like, oh, well, this poor kid's parents are dead and we want him to be paid what he's accustomed to. So what, they send the new caregiver over to give him a little whack, I don't know. I don't like the wording there of that law. I was on board there for a minute, and then now I'm like, I don't know. This sounds suspicious to me.
All right, hold on.
More consequences for drivers convicted of intoxication manslaughter. A new state law will force drivers who kill parents to pay child support. Channel 5's Cassandra Garcia is live now with those details. And Cassandra, when's this law going to take effect?
Well, Rudy, this law takes effect in September, and it applies to any driver convicted of killing either a parent or guardian in a drunk driving crash.
Yeah. All I have to say is that was a great idea for her to be out there reporting live with all that traffic noise behind her.
It's crazy. What a wild decision that is. Yeah, that's a wild choice.
Yeah, instead of just letting the dude give the report in the studio or letting her give the report in the studio, they're like, yeah, let's just go live to this random broad sitting right by the highway. Are they really trying to bring home the fact it's a law about drunk driving?
I don't know, but that's a phenomenal acoustics point. That is that. I don't know what could they be thinking? I don't know what they're thinking.
That's why local news is local news.
All right.
Go ahead.
Drunk driving accidents took the lives of more than 1,900 people in Texas in 2021. Some of those who died, parents, taken from their children too soon. It's a reality, and Alicia Zarate has lived for nearly 23 years.
The drunk driver was headed north, and we were headed west, and he hit our vehicle in the front quarter where my mother was driving, and so she died at the scene.
In the blink of an eye, her life changed, and so did her father's.
My dad was actually an 18-wheeler driver, and so he would do cross country all the time. I would see him on weekends and things like that when he was home. So when the crash happened, my mother, was no longer with us, and he had to leave that.
The state just passed a new law that would force drivers convicted of intoxication manslaughter to pay child support if they kill at least one parent or guardian in a crash. Payments that would continue until the child turns 18.
Necessary as another source of restitution, as another way. Of course, you can't ever make somebody whole if their parents are gone.
What happens if they want to go to college?
Yeah. Well, what happens if the person gets out of prison after the child's 18?
Right. You know what, bro? You're right. There's a lot of loopholes in this shit. How is a person supposed to pay for child support when they're guaranteed to go to jail, right? If they kill somebody, at least for 5 years.
Exactly. It's vehicular manslaughter or drunk drive or whatever it is, whatever they get charged with, they're going to prison for a decent amount of time. You killed someone. I mean, you don't just not go to prison for that. So, you're not making a lot of money in prison. Like, are they just confiscating the $3 a week you make picking up trash on the side of the road? Like, I don't get it.
Yeah, it doesn't make much sense, honestly. I agree with that.
I mean,
I'm not sure.
I think it's one of those laws that like got passed and signed just because it sounds good. Because I mean, honestly, like until I thought for a second about it, it sounded pretty good to me. But I don't know how it's like really going to be applicable, like in a substantive way. You know, like I don't see, like for example, if this law was in effect when that 18-wheeler driver had his wife killed, I don't really foresee him getting, you know, $500 a month checks and child support while the dude who killed his wife is in prison.
Right. All right. Next up, got another one. This is going to get you heated. I know you. And that is, should corporations be allowed to vote?
Hold up. Why are you asking me should corporations be allowed to vote?
I'm asking you, do you think corporations should be allowed to vote?
I feel like this is a trick question, but I'm also going to say shot in the dark. This is a Delaware story.
Fucking Delaware, bro. A Delaware city is set to give corporations the right to vote in elections.
Delaware is the only state in the country where this is possible. Like, do you know, like, Delaware has more Fortune 500 companies than any other, like, state in the country, but none of them are even in Delaware?
That's wild. It's just wild.
It's a corporate tax haven. Like, literally, it's just a corporate tax haven. Everyone who owns a business in this country just sets up LLCs in Delaware to, like, dodge taxes or whatever. It's literally, like, the only way this is a story if it's in Delaware. If you know anything about Delaware, you knew this was a Delaware story. All right, let's hear Delaware like corporations vote.
Before I read the article, the Young Turks actually did a segment on this, and I'm gonna play a little bit of it.
Of course,
the small town of Seaford, Delaware. Well, it's gained a national attention for a proposed bill that would have allowed corporations to vote in local elections. Here's an excerpt from the bill, which was introduced in April. Every owner of property in the city as of the day of final registration next preceding the annual election, whether a natural person or artificial entity, including but not limited to corporate partnerships, trusts, and limited liability companies, and who is registered to vote in the book of registered voters maintained at City Hall, shall have one vote.
What the fuck does all that even mean? I mean, what does that jumble of words even actually mean?
All right. Well, a natural person would be you and me. We're natural people. An artificial entity, that's just like a business. So when they say including but not limited to, corporations, partnerships, trusts are, you know, shit rich people put their money in to make money, I think. Right. And limited liability company, LLC. That's an LLC. And who is registered to vote in the book. How can an LLC or a partnership or corporation be registered to vote? And if you live in that town and you have an LLC and you have a trust and you have some other partnership.
What do you got, like 4 votes?
Yeah.
All right. Hold on.
What if you have multiple LLCs? What if how about this? What if you're an Uber driver who is also a landlord who also owns a bodega? You can literally have 3 LLCs. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like there's Uber drivers, they'll set up an LLC to be paid that way because it's like the way the employment tax work. You know, you set up an LLC if you rent out your house, or if you rent out a room in your house, and you can set up an LLC for your bodega that you own. Like, you can have 3 LLCs in this town. Yeah, so you can vote 3 times on each LLC plus yourself. It sounds like bullshit.
All right.
An artificial entity shall be a domestic entity in the state of Delaware and be in good standing. The bill would have given corporations, of course, huge amounts of power. Just 340 people in Seaford voted in the most recent election on April 15th, and the bill would potentially provide as many as 234 votes to the.
If there is a town that only has 340 people voting in it, you shouldn't be able to vote. Just throw the vote away.
Well, here's the thing, too. This town, look at these numbers. This town's so freaking small. They only have 340 people voting in it. But they could add 234 votes just from the business community. Remember when at the beginning when I told you, like, Delaware's just a tax haven where, like, people just set up corporate entities in Delaware, but they don't even have a presence there? That's what I'm talking about. This is a town of probably.
You're not normal when you grow up in a town with 340 people. Therefore, you should not be able to vote. That's it.
Well, first of all, you're being. Yeah, you're right. I've actually known plenty of people who grew up in towns of 340 people in rural areas.
Would you want any of them voting?
Oh, they do vote. They're the reason why my state sucks. But they're weird, dude. They're freaking weird.
They're weird. Yeah. They're probably getting homeschooled. They're weird.
No, I'm not. Well, the people in my part of the country, because I don't live in Delaware, like rural towns of like 340 people are completely different than like small towns in Delaware, because Delaware's still like in that whole northeastern metroplex that you guys going on, where it's like literally just one big city from Boston down to Washington. But still, like, you have a small town. Well, they say 340 people voted, so it's probably like 1,500 people in the town or 2,000 people in the town. But, like, how the hell do you have – say there's 2,000 people in this town. You have almost over one registered business for every 10 people. That's insane.
Yeah.
That's what did we – Delaware needs to, like, figure out – I don't get it, man. It's a weird state. Like, it's a very weird. You know, something's afoot when like a state has like more registered corporations than people.
It's wild.
The businesses in the community. And oh, by the way, corporations, of course, already have a lot of privileges in Delaware. The state is one of just a few that do not charge corporations income tax and allow corporation officers to hide themselves behind a vast web of secrecy. Delaware is also home to the 200-year-old.
What does that even mean? What is that even? A vast web of secrecy? What does that even mean?
I don't know. I don't know. Delaware is one of those states where it's. I imagine it's just like a bunch of strip malls with PO boxes. Like you just like drive by a strip mall that has like 500 PO boxes on it. It's all just a different company. You're like, wow, I didn't know Goldman Sachs was headquartered in Delaware. And you drive there and find their headquarters is like this P.O. box in a strip mall.
Chancery Court, which presides over corporate disputes and helps give the state its pro-business reputation. Its business court has been a model for 25 other states, often delivering more favorable outcomes to corporations than regular district courts would. David Genshaw, the mayor of Seaford, supported the bill. He said, "These are the people we're trying to attract to our community that we're asking to invest, to hire. Why wouldn't we give them a right to vote? I find it hard to believe."
Why wouldn't we give a corporation a right to vote?
The mayor.
The mayor.
The mayor's like, why wouldn't we let corporations? What the hell? I'm pretty sure he's probably saying. You remember that episode of The Simpsons where Mayor Quimby, or it's Mayor Quimby, right? Whatever. The episode of The Simpsons where he's like, "I here declare this," or whatever, where he's like gave this like really reasonable.
Like Kennedy? What was he trying to be, Kennedy?
Well, Mayor Quimby in The Simpsons sounds like John. It's like a John Kennedy impersonation.
Oh, okay. It's been
like
a while.
How has this show been around for 35 years and you don't remember?
I've watched The Simpsons a lot.
Yeah, but no, like there's this episode where the Mayor Quimby is like sells out the town to this corporation, and he's literally turns around after he tells them how he sold out the town to this corporation and is handed a bag full of money and walks away. It's literally like He literally turns around and the guy for the corporation just hands him a bag that has money on it, and Mayor Quimby just walks off.
Honestly, though, I kind of love the balls on this mayor. He said, why wouldn't we want to pay for? Allow him to vote. Why wouldn't we? I love it. I love this guy.
Who wouldn't want that to happen? These are folks that have fully invested in the community with money, with their time, with their sweat. We want them to have a voice if they choose to take it. Democrats control the Seaford legislature, and for a while, it seemed like they might actually pass the bill.
What?
State House Speaker Peter Schwarzkopf said in a committee hearing in May that he is kind of caught in a pickle here, he said.
Bro, Democrats almost were like, yeah, let's pass the bill? Isn't that
they're not Democrats, they're Delaware Democrats. I mean,
isn't that everything they're against? I mean, like, what are we even talking about?
Dude, like, Delaware Democrats are like corporatists on steroids. Same with like Delaware's just corporatism.
I love these people, bro. He said he's kind of caught in a pickle here.
I don't think it's a good idea, but I don't think I want to vote to stop it.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a good idea, but I don't think I want to vote to stop it.
Why not?
Thankfully, the story has a happy ending for now, at least for those of us who are of the sane minds. Here's what More Perfect Union reported yesterday, breaking: the Delaware House removed the Seaford LLC bill from its agenda and adjourned without a vote. A big win for democracy in the first state for now, but Delaware could go a step further and pass HB 189 to ban LLCs from voting in all local elections.
So there you have
Why would you? This is how crazy Delaware is. Why would you need a bill to ban them from voting in local elections? Like, the fact that corporations and LLCs voting in local elections shouldn't be something that's ever come up. Like, so why would you think even only Delaware would think that they would have to ban it?
Yeah. I don't know, but it's wild. It's just, and I'm a big fan of that mayor, you know, personality wise.
I
want to have a beer with that guy.
That is Mayor Quimby from The Simpsons right there. It's like, I'm selling you all out to the corporations. Turns around, where's my money? It's like, what? You know for a fact that mayor has a fucking bag of cash in his freezer from like every LLC in that town.
This is wild.
Wild. Oh my God. Isn't it insane like how corrupt politics is?
Yeah.
It's mind-boggling. We talk about like the corruption of like right now, like they're going on about like Hunter Biden and it's like all corrupt with, but Donald Trump was like super corrupt with like his kids and the Saudis, and it goes all the way back. So we talk about all this corruption with like at the biggest levels, right? With the
they are all corrupt.
But we're like, this is a small town mayor of like 2,000 people, just like rubbing corporate money all over his titties, talking about how like, yep, they're going to vote. So it's like it goes all the way down to mayors of like towns of 2,000 people, like. Yeah. Politics from like the very bottom all the way up to the presidency. It's just bullshit.
It just comes down to how corrupt are you? Like the different
right?
there are just different levels. Like people that like were just disgusted with Trump, but like hailing Nancy Pelosi as their queen. Like she's almost as corrupt.
Her husband is option trading off of her votes in Congress.
Yeah, I mean, she is ridiculously corrupt.
And when they talked to her about like, hey Nancy, what do you think of this stock trading ban that some people in the Congress are wanting to pass? And she's like, well, it's a free market. We have the right to participate in it. How dare you say that we shouldn't trade stocks? Hey Nancy, didn't your husband like invest heavily in options on like Nvidia and AMD like right before you guys made that big old vote on the CHIPS Act. Well, anyways, this is end of the interview. It's like,
yeah. So to sum it up, whether you're a small town mayor or
in Delaware,
or in Delaware, or you're the president of the United States, they're all corrupt. But this mayor is hysterical. I'm a big fan of this guy.
What was that quote of his again? I think I got to read that again. That was so good. You don't have it ready, do you?
No, I don't have it. Well, I mean, the article basically says everything that that we just watched in that article.
That's so funny. Should corporations vote? No.
Yeah. All right, moving on. Something that we don't see all that often in the United States of America, and that is police officers being charged with murder.
What?
Yeah, 3 San Antonio police officers have been charged with murder. I have an article. I have some video. So yeah, they're charged with the murder in the fatal shooting of a woman. Go ahead.
3 San Antonio police officers have been charged with the murder in a fatal shooting of a woman who was experiencing what the city police chief said was a mental health crisis. Sergeant Alfred Flores and Officer Alazar Alejandro and Nathaniel
Villalobos,
were suspended without pay and later arrested on murder warrants in the shooting death of Melissa Perez, 46, when she refused police orders to come out of her apartment, Police Chief William McManus said Friday. The officers' actions were not consistent with SAPD's policy and training, McManus said during a Friday night news conference. So it's nice to see that they are not trained to murder people who are having a mental health crisis.
It's crazy.
They placed themselves in a situation where they used deadly force, which was not reasonable given all the circumstances, as we now understand them. One of the 3 charged officers opened fire, McManus said, after Perez first threw a glass candlestick at the officers. She threw a glass candlestick.
Yeah.
And then swung a hammer at them. Oh, holy. I mean, she's trying to attack them.
Yeah.
All 3 officers were fired when Perez. All 3 officers then fired when Perez approached them with the hammer, hitting her at least twice, according to McManus. Well, here's the deal, though, because I know for a fact there's going to be conservatives who are going to go, oh, they were self-defense. It's 3 dudes with guns and a chick with a hammer. Like, they can subdue her.
See, that's exactly right. That's my problem. Like, I guess technically when you feel like, somebody is trying to use lethal force against a police officer, they could use their gun. But I'm sorry, you can't sell me on 3 grown men in shape in their probably 30s that they can't. I don't care if the lady has a hammer or not, as long as she doesn't have a gun. There's no reason why you're ending her life. I can't see it. I have video too of they kind of show the body cam footage. You don't see her, but you see them shooting. It's crazy, bro. It's an excessive use of force. Like, I know largely we talk about it happening against African American men in this country, but definitely in this situation, this lady died for no reason at all.
Yeah, especially she's having a mental health crisis. You're supposed to be able to bring in mental health professionals with the police, because I know, at least in my city, you can call 911 for a wellness check on someone who's having a mental health crisis, and they will have a mental health crisis officer who's a licensed therapist, come and try and talk to the person and things like that. So I don't know if in San Antonio they have that kind of stuff, because it's Texas, like, come on. But let's see what the story says here. Let
me play some video.
Next tonight, 3 San Antonio police officers charged with murder after the fatal shooting of a woman having a mental health crisis inside her own home. Authorities releasing this chilling body camera video of the incident. 46-year-old Melissa Perez was allegedly armed with a hammer. Those officers now suspended without pay. Here's ABC's Phil Lipoff.
Tonight, 3 San Antonio police officers charged with murder after shooting a woman inside her home. That woman, police say.
Bro, did you see how many times they shot that lady?
If she was inside the home, they were inside.
They weren't even inside the house. And if you look, there's like a metal gate that you have to open first in order to open the door. I'm gonna play that again. That is fucking crazy, man.
Tonight, 3 San Antonio police officers charged with murder after shooting a woman.
I was wrong, by the way. There is no gate. That's just the door frame. But still.
Inside her home. That woman, police say, was in the throes of a mental health crisis. Officers approaching 46-year-old Melissa Perez.
That lady is what you're worried about? That lady?
I don't know. Maybe she's a crazy broad. I don't know. But no.
Friday, after receiving a call that she had cut wires to a fire alarm at her apartment complex.
Hey, lady, get over here.
Perez then running back to her first floor unit. Police removing a window screen to gain access. That's when they say Perez grabbed a hammer and they drew their weapons.
You're gonna get shot.
Shoot me. You're not gonna work.
Police say Perez then threw a glass candle at one officer. According to police, Perez ultimately smashes that front window with her hammer. Police opened fire, missing Perez, who they say then came to the door with hammer in hand.
Jesus Christ, bro. I mean, like when you gotta really be fucked in the head.
You have to de-escalate there.
But just talking about the lady's state of mind, when they shoot 3 or 4 times and they miss, and then they stop shooting, and then she starts running towards them with a hammer, that's I mean, you are gone in the head when you're still running forward at that point. But even still, you can't sell me on the fact that you couldn't get that hammer out of that lady's hand. Almost 50, bro. Come on.
They got to find a way to de-escalate that situation. That's the issue that so many people have with the police in this country right now is I don't see, or a lot of people say like they should be de-escalating these situations, and sometimes they just make them worse.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that when you arrive there and you see that lady in distress, like your first reaction shouldn't be like, all right, I'm going to like put my hand on my gun and figure out a way on how I'm going to shoot her now.
Like that's either 3 guys that just don't give a fuck or like horrific training.
Yeah, exactly. Like they should find a way to like call in and have a mental health officer come down or something. I mean, because she's in her house.
Yeah.
Okay? She's in her house at that moment. Like, so she's not hurting anyone else when she's in that house, and she's obviously having an issue. Like, you have to find a way to de-escalate that situation. You have to find, call if you're not trained for mental health issues, you call someone who is.
I feel confident in saying that both me and you alone, by ourselves, could take the hammer off that lady without us getting hurt. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and if that's the case, those guys who are probably in much better shape than the both of us should not be doing that. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah, that's absurd. So they're charged with murder. So it is nice in this country that we actually do see a movement towards holding police a little bit more responsible for some of this stuff that goes on. Because honestly, like I feel like they've been getting away with it for too long, you know?
Yeah.
It's almost like the brazenness that they have where they're just like, yeah, let's just shoot all these people. It's just like, like right here, it's like, this is Texas, for frick's sake. Texas, and they're charging these guys with murder.
Right.
Like,
you want me to continue?
I was gonna say I would expect something like this out of like Seattle, where my brother lives, or California, or obviously Portland, but Texas, even Texas is like saying, "Oh, this is enough. Enough is enough, guys."
For sure.
Perez is shot through the door and killed. The 3 officers arrested and charged with murder are Sergeant Alfred Flores, Nathaniel Villalobos, and Eliezer Alejandro.
The shooting officer's actions were not consistent with SAPD's policy and training.
Through their family's attorney, Perez's daughter says, "This breaks my heart. I always trusted the police to protect me, and now I don't know who to trust."
All 3 officers have been immediately suspended without pay. It's unclear tonight, Whit, if any of them have entered a plea yet.
Philip.
So there you go.
Crazy. Yeah, I don't know how this is going to turn out, but at least it's nice to see that at least they're trying to hold people accountable. I mean, who knows? They might get off. It'll be a Texas jury, so you never know. But they might go, oh, they're trying to stand their ground. Who knows? If Texas, I assume Texas has to be a stand your ground law state, but it's nice to see that they're actually trying to hold police officers accountable for this stuff these days. Because just looking at that video, they shot her through her door. Just the sight, they shot her through her door.
Right.
Well, if she was behind a door, she wasn't really a threat to you at that time, which is why you got charged with murder.
And listen, when we shit on cops, even when they deserve it, I always feel the need to say that, because of cops, we're, for the most part, able to live in peace, and 98% of them are fucking good cops and good people. But, there are some fucking guys that are just morons that just don't belong on the streets with a gun.
Yeah, that's a rough one, man. I feel like this story should probably be a little bit bigger than what it is, because I haven't really seen it broadcast around, but
right.
We'll see though.
Episode 2 of this podcast is a fucking downer, man. Just all sad shit. Well,
maybe.
Let's change it up. South Carolina fire chief sued. South Carolina fire chief who pointed gun at teens who turned in his driveway is being sued. Now,
why do I feel like this is a story that I've heard multiple times over like the last few months?
Look at the shape of this guy.
Oh my god, he looks like a dude who'll pull a gun out on a teen.
Like what? I don't even know what they're talking about. Like, as in, like pulling in his driveway with their car to turn around.
Yeah, like this is something that's happened multiple times over the last few months, or it's like a dude. There was a story somewhere where a dude like knocked on the wrong door and got shot. Or there was another story I saw, I think it was in Florida, where a guy got arrested for pulling a gun out on his neighbor because she had a friend who pulled into his driveway to turn around. And the dude pulled a gun out on his neighbor. So I'm like, what is with all these pulling guns out on people who just happen to like pulling into a driveway, turning around in a driveway is a common thing. I probably do it. I've done it plenty of times, and I've never been like, oh no, am I going to get shot? I've seen people do it in my driveway before. I've never been like, oh no, I got to get my gun. Oh.
Wild.
This is insane.
Absolutely wild. A fire chief in South Carolina who told officials he pointed a gun at 2 teenagers after they turned into his driveway last year has been accused of assault and false imprisonment in a lawsuit as police reopen their investigation. The teens drove into Billy McAdams' driveway in Townville on August 29th and turned around. Townville. That's a great name for a town. Doesn't that sound like the name of a town in
That's the Powerpuff Girls. Isn't it the city of Townville?
Who's the guy that made the original Batman, The Nightmare Before Christmas?
Tim Burton.
Tim Burton. That sounds like a town in one of Tim Burton's movies.
No, I swear to God, I'm gonna like Google this right now while you read this story. But Townville has to be the Powerpuff Girls.
I don't even know what that is. What is the Powderpuff Girls?
It's Powerpuff Girls, not Powder Puff Girls.
What is it? What is it?
How have you never heard of the Powerpuff Girls?
I don't know because I'm a guy. What is it?
It was the greatest cartoon ever in like the year 2000. They fought Mojo Jojo and him. And
so you're asking me why I, as a 20-year-old guy, I didn't know about the Powerpuff cartoon?
Yeah. And yeah, I just Googled it. Townsville is the city that the Powerpuff Girls were based in. So this town in South Carolina is named after the Powerpuff Girl town.
Oh, I guess so. So these
How
kids.
did you ever watch the Powerpuff Girls?
Did
you not watch Cartoon Network? You're only like 3 years older than me, so like it's the same time period.
I know. I don't. I just don't. I don't.
They were on with like Johnny Bravo and Dexter's Laboratory.
I never watched those cartoons either.
Really? What cartoons did you watch?
Like Thundercats, Voltron.
How old are you?
I'm 42.
You're only 3 years older than me. How the hell are you watching cartoons that like my brother who was 9 years older than me was watching?
Bro, do you know how when we were 6 and 7 years old, do you know how big Thundercats was? It was like the biggest cartoon on.
I didn't like Thundercats because my brother watched it, and I thought my brother
Fraggle Rock. Remember Fraggle Rock?
Yeah, I didn't like Fraggle Rock.
Like I used to watch that. I don't know. Yeah, I used to watch all the old stuff like Transformers.
No, I didn't watch Transformers.
He-Man.
No, I didn't watch He-Man.
That's what I watched.
Like at that age, no, I watched like the Spider-Man cartoon, the X-Men cartoon.
I watched them.
Yeah, remember? Then, you know, like when I was like,
did you watch like Bobby's World?
Huh?
Bobby's World was great.
Yeah, I watched Bobby's World, but like Powerpuff Girls was like the best cartoon ever.
I just never saw it.
You could probably turn on Powerpuff Girls right, Jay. I'm telling you could turn on an episode of Powerpuff Girls right now. Find it on like Netflix or whatever it's on. Maybe it's on HBO Max or something. HBO Max seems to have a lot of the Cartoon Network stuff. And you could probably watch an episode of Powerpuff Girls and find it hilarious.
All right, we got to keep it moving right now. So the team.
Oh, yeah, this fat firefighter who pulled a gun out.
Yeah. Teens drove into Billy McAdams' driveway in Townville, August 29. They turned around while scouting hunting sites for geese season, according to an incident report and 911 calls.
Townville and teenagers scouting hunting sites for geese season. And then an old fat white guy pulling out a gun. This is like the most South Carolina thing to ever South Carolina.
So they were followed for several minutes by two pickups through
Of
two.
course they were driving pickups.
Until they were blocked in by one and forced out of their truck and onto the ground by McAdams, who pointed a pistol at them, according to the suit and incident reports. The mother of the teens, who are now 17, filed the suit against McAdams, who at the time of the incident was the Townville fire chief, and his son. The suit accuses them of causing the teens emotional distress by forcing them out of the vehicle at gunpoint and chasing them at a high rate of speed, nearly colliding with them. That's crazy.
I'm sorry, but if you run me down in your pickup truck and put me to the ground at gunpoint, I would be emotionally distressed.
Yeah.
Just a smidge.
Yeah. I got some video on this, actually.
All new at 6 o'clock, the Anderson County Sheriff's Office released new audio recordings to Fox Carolina today, and they shed light on what happened last summer when an upstate fire chief is accused of making 2 teenagers get on the ground at gunpoint.
Last August, 2 17-year-old boys say they decided to turn around in someone's driveway. That driveway turned out to belong to Townville Fire Chief Billy McAdams. The teens' parents are now suing the chief. The lawsuit claims he chased them across county lines and held them at gunpoint while they were lying in the road. In the audio recordings of the incident, McAdams can be heard yelling at the teens to get out of their truck and get on the ground.
1 second.
County Fire.
All right, hang on. I got him blocked. There's no way to get around us now.
Where you got him blocked at?
Sitting Mill Road.
Sitting Mill. What's the closest cross?
Get out of the truck! Get out! Get out! Get out of the truck right now!
Jesus.
Hey, where's the closest cross to Sitting Mill?
Hang on. Get out! Who are you? You go, hey, on the ground.
I think this is a little excessive.
Oh, you think? For turning around in someone's driveway?
Yeah, that sounds a little excessive to me.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I think that guy. I mean, I think he should be more than.
Do you have him at gun?
Yeah,
he should be freaking arrested. Like, what the hell? That cannot be legal in any sense.
He can't possibly be the fire chief now, can he?
There's no possible way it is legal in any state, even South Carolina, to chase someone down in your pickup truck and take them out of their car at gunpoint. Like, that cannot possibly, that has to be multiple crimes.
Crazy.
How's this guy not arrested?
I don't know. I'm going to continue.
Point, sir.
You are. On the ground. You out. You on the ground. Who are you?
Hey, Chief. Hey, Chief.
Why didn't you stop when we were asking you? We didn't have no guns till right now.
We didn't have no guns till right now?
Yeah.
What the fuck is that guy saying?
Yeah,
we didn't have no guns till right. You have gun. You brought guns with you into your fucking truck when you chased them down. You didn't just miraculously manufacture one on the spot. Get the fuck out of here. What, he just like get out of the truck after you chased them down and then a gun just like teleported into his hands? We didn't have no guns till right now. Mother, what the fuck is that guy talking about?
Nobody hopped up with a gun and ran to nothing. I've had no from me. I ain't putting up with this no more. Get up. Get on the truck.
Fuck this guy.
He said he's had shit stolen from him and he's not putting up with it anymore.
I don't think it gives you a...
Where are you from? Greenville.
Hey, Chief.
Hang tight. Hang tight. I'll be back with you. You hear me?
Is there a bill down there?
Do you have a
Brownville, Greenville.
Wait. Listen to what this guy says. The dispatch is asking him right now, do you have a gun on him?
Gun on him?
Oh, I did, but it's off of him now.
The dispatch guy was kind of like telling him, hey, bro, what are you doing right now? What are you doing right now?
Another recording, a dispatcher asked McAdams for more information on what happened, but he wouldn't give it to them.
Okay, what was going on exactly? How did you hear about this?
Why you need to know all this?
It's just for our end. If it happened in Anderson County, they're gonna need it for the report.
Well, I'll give it to the investigator when he calls me. He can call. I'll call him in a little bit. Find out who the investigator is. Right now, I'm working with Oconee County Sheriff's Office.
Okay. But you said you're okay.
You don't need
correct?
that for no fire report. Yeah, I'm fine. You don't need that for no fire report.
No, it's going to be for the deputy's report.
Yeah, and then he can call me here in a little bit on my cell phone. I don't need to tell you.
Right, and in a court filing, McAdams says he did pursue the teens, but only because he thought they were trying to steal from him. He denies their claims of assault. The Oconee County Sheriff's Office says they've reopened the criminal investigation into the incident. The attorney for Chief
He
McAdams
denies their
said
claims of
the
assault.
statement
He's on tape pulling a gun out on him. Oh, I didn't assault them at all. I just pulled a little gun out on the fellers.
Here's the statement from his lawyer.
First and foremost, Mr. McAdams is extremely concerned about the situation and is committed to addressing any allegations with the utmost sincerity and cooperation. We believe a complete picture of all the facts will validate our client's position and are confident in the ability of the legal system to deliver justice.
I bet you he is concerned.
Justice would be him going to fucking jail. Like, how the hell do you just...
he is extremely concerned about the situation. That should say about his job. That's what that should say. I don't really think he cares all that much about the situation.
Yeah, that dude. Wow. Like, what mindset do you have to be in to where you're like, oh, someone pulled around in my driveway? Something that happens all the time. Something that's like 99.99% innocent. Oh, I'm going to chase them down to my truck and pull them out of their car at gunpoint because they turned around and used my driveway to turn around in? That just seems kind of crazy to me.
Yeah.
That's insane. And the funny thing is that dude looks exactly like what you would think a guy who would do that would look like.
Yeah.
It's amazing. He's concerned about the situation. Well, yeah, he's got a lawsuit going up against him. I would be concerned too.
All right.
A lawsuit he's
Good
probably
news.
going to lose. Florida man.
This week's Florida man. Yeah. Each week we have a Florida man segment. Why? Because Florida men are fantastic. That's why.
God bless Florida's very lax freedom of information laws.
God bless their hearts. Florida man wearing only a loincloth and socks smashed into several vehicles and tried to outrun a helicopter before crashing into the Flagler County landfill. I mean,
nothing you said there makes sense.
If this doesn't scream Florida man, my friend,
hold on. Florida man wearing only a loincloth and socks.
Yeah, yeah.
Why are you wearing a loincloth for one? Like, I understand if you're not wearing a shirt, Florida's hot and it's the summer. But a loincloth? Okay. Wearing only a loincloth and socks, smashed into several vehicles, outrunning a helicopter, and then crash into a landfill? Okay, give me the details. I'm intrigued.
Yep.
I'm intrigued.
All right. So I did find some video on this.
He is wearing a loincloth. Holy fuck. Look at that. Look at that.
Yeah, he's wearing a loincloth. Yeah.
And the socks don't match either. Look at that.
I do. I have a little video. That I'll play, but I'll read the article first. I understand the headline is quite lengthy, but it was needed to really tell the story. 22-year-old Steve Peterson of Port Orange and 20-year-old Victoria Averill had quite an adventure before it all ended at the Flagler County landfill. It all started on June 21 in Flagler Beach, Florida, when our Florida man and his accomplice drove through the intersection of State Road 100 East and Old Kings Road South and strike multiple vehicles. That's just off I-95 near Popeyes. Why? That's why is that sentence in the story? That's just off of I-95 near the. Okay, we don't need to know that.
All right, hold on.
The only people that was for was the people in Flagler County that were like, "Oh, that's right near the Popeye."
Oh, that's hold on. State Road 100 East and Old Kings Road South, and struck multiple. That's just off I-95 near the Popeye.
Hey, listen. At least we know where it is. You know.
Thank you, 96K Rock, for your fantastic reporting on the location of the Popeyes in Flagler County.
It's always nice to know exactly where it is, and it's just near I-95 near the Popeyes. That's where.
Holy fuck!
That's funny, bro. I do have video. I'm gonna play that. This should work.
Keep your hands right there where we can see them. All right, she's got her. I see her hands too.
Keep your hands up. Keep your hands up.
Keep your hands right there. Do not move.
That's not a road.
Is anybody injured? Hey, why can't you get out of the car, man? Okay, well, we should have drove in the woods, but you can get out of the car, so you get out of the car now. You're not getting out? That's a bad decision.
You know what? I love an honest cop. You know what I mean? He let her know, if we're not getting out of the car, that's not going to be good for you. You know?
Yeah, I've seen cops, like, after people crash, and like in these crash videos, they don't give a fuck. They will drag your ass out at gunpoint after you flipped your car 5 times.
They will bang your head off every tree in that jungle. Every one of them.
Yeah.
I don't care. Get out of the car now.
Keep those hands right where we can see them. Keep those hands right where we can see them.
She sounds reasonable there, too.
Put them all the way on the roof. Touch the roof of the car. Yep. Unlock it. Unlock the door.
Well, you told them to put their hands on the roof. What do you want me to do?
Hop out, man. Let's go. Find out right now.
You do not give orders here. Do not freaking move.
Get out of the car. I want to go outside.
Dude, you stay right there. Do not move. Stay right there. What are you doing?
Oh my God!
You do not give orders. That bitch is trying to tell the cop what to do. She's got a fucking gun to her face, and she's trying to tell him what's what.
They drug that guy out in that shrubbery with only a loincloth. That had to hurt.
Oh God!
That probably did not feel that good.
He's scratched.
Cover the car. Let's secure the vehicle.
I know I'm not anywhere.
Stand up. I am, excuse me. I'm on her lot.
We have not checked the vehicle yet.
My junk. Please leave that there. I got nothing on me.
Get her up.
Come on. We'll stand you up. Ready?
Come on, stand up.
And there you have it.
Florida's insane, man. It's like it's crazy how this shit always happens in Florida.
Yeah. So what happened was after just off I-95 near the Popeyes, the SUV then continued south on Old Kings Road at a high rate of speed. It was spotted by my Florida Fish and Wildlife officer, who then attempted to stop the vehicle. The FWC officer activated the emergency lights and sirens, but the vehicle didn't stop. Does the FWC even have authority to pull over vehicles? ? I'm not sure. Anyway, I mean, this person's writing style is fantastic. I like this guy.
That's actually an honest question, though. Like, does the Fish and Wildlife Commission actually have the authority to pull over cars and write tickets? And I mean, I assume they just like stop you from, fishing in private land or something. But the dude's like pulls them over at gunpoint.
So, what are they charged with? From the FCSO, Peterson was arrested for fleeing and eluding, leaving the scene of a crash with damage to vehicle or property, resisting an officer without violence, trespassing on school grounds, possession of marijuana under 20 grams, and possession of drug paraphernalia. Averell was arrested for trespassing on school grounds, possession of marijuana under 20 grams, and possession of drug paraphernalia. Peterson's being held.
Is just a pipe.
Yeah, pipe. Yeah,
It's
exactly.
A weed pipe or something.
Yep.
So it looks like
they're being held on $19,500 bond, and she's being held on $3,000 bond. And there you have it. That's
I'm going to go on a limb just
this
by
week, Florida man.
Just by judging by what that dude was wearing. They can't afford their bond, even though their bond is like a pittance. And I don't get like
hurtful.
I don't get those charges. Like, we don't know what they did. They're just like fleeing and evading for no reason. Like, we don't know what's going on. They're like, oh, they were charged with drug paraphernalia. Well, we know the drug paraphernalia is probably just weed. Like, weed doesn't make you do that.
Listen, man. Who cares what they were charged for?
They're trespassing on school grounds. That's what I want to know. Like, what are you doing?
But no distribution charge. So it's not like they were selling it to kids.
Less than 20 grams. I mean, that's barely a bowl.
No. Oh my God, Anthony. You just showed me how little you know about drugs in one sentence.
Well, how much is it? Less than
20 grams. 21 grams is 3/4 of an ounce of weed, and that's basically the equivalent. 21 grams will get you about 40 joints, like half-gram joints.
You're outing yourself, Jay.
Yeah. Oh, I smoke a shit ton of weed, a shit ton.
But it's under 20 grams, so it could have been like 2 grams.
It could have been like half a joint. Yeah, it could have been half a joint. Yeah. But 21 grams is a decent amount. 21 grams will last me about a month. So it's a decent amount.
I don't know. It just that whole thing just sounds weird. Like a dude just randomly in a loincloth, just like speeding down the highway, banging into cars, and we have no answers as to why.
I'll tell you why. He's a Florida man. That's why. It's what they do down there.
It's so fucking weird.
Why is it? It's always a Florida man, though. I love it. I'm a big fan of Florida.
It's so weird. It's such a bizarre.
Other than the humidity, because
I think it's the humidity. I think the humidity just makes it go crazy.
Man, the humidity is brutal. It's so bad in Florida.
Isn't it weird how like they think everyone's jealous of them, and we just kind of look at them like
it feels like you walk outside into a shower mist of wet hotness.
My sister lives down in Florida. She keeps telling me like, "Oh, you should move down here. You should move down here." And I'm like, "There's a reason why I haven't."
I've been to Florida legitimately, probably 60 times in my life. My biological dad lives down there. Well, lived down there, and my grandparents live down there. So I've been there a ton, and it's
ever enjoy it.
It's just no. It's so hot. It's you can't enjoy it. It's awful. I hate it.
No, it's terrible. The only good part is like if you go to the beach, like when you're actually on the beach, all the humidity's gone and you got that cool ocean breeze. That's nice when you're on a beach. But I mean, other than that, it's a rough go, man. I think that heat just fries their brain.
For sure.
Well, here's the deal. It's like when you're down there, you're like, man, Why does it feel like I'm literally standing in the middle of a swamp? Why does it feel like they just paved over a swamp?
Because you're literally standing in the middle of a swamp.
Thank you.
That's why. That's why it feels that way. Yeah.
They built the state on top of a swamp, and then they're like, oh, it literally feels like we're in a swamp. I wonder why that is. Yeah, because you built the state on the swamp. That's why.
Yep. You might get eaten by an alligator when you go outside. You might not. Like
I'm sorry, but like you know me, I spend a lot of time on a golf course. I cannot be fighting off alligators in the sand traps. Okay,
you will have to at some point down there.
Yeah, that's bullshit. I'm not doing that.
Yeah. All right. Biggest story of the week by a country mile, and that is the Titan sub story.
Oh, this was so funny.
That is why the headline reads, "The size of a bank account is not indicative of someone's intelligence." And this story gripped this country, obviously, and a large part of the world. It's just incredible. For those that don't know, a company called Ocean Gate and their founder, Stockton Rush, provide a service to go down.
R.I.P. Stockton Rush.
R.I.P. They for $250,000,
idiot,
you were able to get on a list to go down in a submarine, like 3,800 meters down, which is what over 12,000 feet, right?
Jay, hold on. Like 38. A meter is basically like 3.2 yards.
No, a meter is 3.2 feet.
Oh, okay, so like 3.1 yards. A yard is 3 feet.
Yeah, a yard is 3 feet. So
yeah, meter's like 39 inches. So it's like just over 3 feet.
Right. So times 3,800, I assume that's somewhere around 12,000 feet, right?
Yeah, probably more. But
yeah. But anyway, they charge $250K for the uber rich to go down and look at the Titanic crash site, which sunk about 900 miles off the coast of Newfoundland, right? So, first of all, what are your thoughts about, in general, rich people, because they're so fucking rich and they've done everything that there is to do, basically put themselves in these life-threatening situations because only the most upper class people, like it's I feel like they just do it for the exclusivity because they can and nobody else can.
Yeah,
but they put their lives at risk and they don't give a fuck. It's crazy.
Well, the problem is like they don't realize they're putting their lives at risk.
How could you not? I don't buy that. I don't.
Did you listen to the interviews?
The sub was run by a fucking Xbox controller, game controller.
Did you listen to the interviews with the guy the CEO, when he said at some point safety is just nonsense? You know, like they cut corners everywhere. All right. And honestly, like, I think it's hilarious. I think it's absolutely awesome that this happened. It's the funniest fucking story to ever happen. You are not going to convince me that billionaires dying because of their own hubris and stupidity is not funny. Because it is funny. It was funny when it happened. It'll be funny 5 years from now. When Elon Musk suffocates and implodes in space on his way to Mars, it'll be funny. It'll always be funny. And you're not going to convince me it's not funny. You're not going to shame me into thinking that it's not funny that this jackass died. I'm sure you got some videos lined up where you hear him talking dumb fuckery on these interviews. Because I'll tell you right now, all he spouted was like libertarian bullshit, and nothing makes me happier than libertarians finding out that their entire dogmatic view on society is horse crap. And this dude figured it out right as it went crack, crack, crack. and he had about like 3 milliseconds to figure out, oh no, I'm such an idiot. Before it went,
well, I'll tell you. First of all, that happens so fast that the human brain can't even they can't even respond. The human brain doesn't even respond to it. You don't even know that it happened. You're there 1 minute and then you're not there, and you didn't feel any pain. You don't. Your brain doesn't even register that it occurred. That's how fast it happens.
Did you see the
wait. For if you're living under a rock and you don't know what happened, Ocean Gate provides a service, 250,000. You can go down there, uber rich, yada yada yada. So they go down, and about an hour and a half after they went down, they lost their radar that on the ship that was tracking them, and they lost all communications. Gone. Now, what we didn't know at the time was the United States Navy saw what was happening, and then they literally heard the sound of the submarine imploding, and they knew immediately that these people were gone. We didn't know, because how it played out was they're missing. They only have
3 days. For 3 days, they let us on.
Right.
Maybe they're out of oxygen.
Right.
No, they were dead 3 days ago, turns out.
They had 96 hours of air, and there was a counter. And then when that air ran out, they finally said, oh, we found pieces of, we sent somebody down there, and around the wreckage of the Titanic, there are pieces of what used to be this craft. Five or six people dead, all super wealthy. How about this, Ant? There's one of the richest men in Pakistan, and his son were on it. Okay, 18-year-old kid. It was supposed to be the man and his wife, but the wife let the son go in her place, and she lost them both. Can you imagine living with that guilt as a parent? That
I don't think she has guilt.
How do you not have guilt?
Because I think she didn't want to go because she knew it was going to blow up. Because she knew it was stupid.
So there are people coming out of the woodwork. I found a couple clips.
Like there's no, like I'm just saying, like there's no. She knew that. Anyone with sense knew that was ridiculous. She's like, no, this is ridiculous. Oh, wait a minute. I'm going to get all your money and, maybe, take this kid who's kind of a burden on me. Shuffle him. All right, maybe not. But maybe I'm being an asshole. But
you're definitely being an asshole, because I'm a dad. And if I ever did that, bro, I would literally kill myself. Literally.
Well, all I'm saying is it was obvious to anyone with sense what was going to happen, and it happened.
Yeah. So there are people coming out of the woodwork that had the opportunity to go, and it just wasn't their time. Whether they pulled out, whether the weather wasn't right.
Mr. Beast.
Mr. Beast said no, thank you.
Yeah, he came out like
Mr. Beast, who, if you don't, obviously he's the biggest guy on YouTube. He owns YouTube basically at this point. That's how much money he makes. But yeah, Mr. B said, go fuck yourself, basically. But I found some video on a YouTube channel called Dally MYD, Dalmid, whatever the fuck that is. But the kid's got 14 million subscribers, and he's so lucky. He almost went on this last month. So let me play the video.
Excited.
Yeah, so just the plan for today was to do an engineering dive, a test dive, to check out some of the systems. First, a controlled dive, so we'd have the sub on the platform, go underwater, everything checked out, the sub to leave the platform and go for a short dive here, kind of close to shore. We got partway through that process. Everybody was loaded in the sub, domes closed, everybody's ready to go. And one of the computers, we've got two computers that control a lot of them. One of them was acting up a little bit. It was offline. They restarted it, came back online, but some of the functionality wasn't exactly as we'd hoped.
Now, this is a recurring theme that you see throughout all the news coverage. Shit constantly going wrong and it just being dismissed. We'll fix it. Boom, we fixed it. It's good. Then it goes out again. And now this is wrong. So that's just seems to be a common theme that you're going to see in these clips.
And the crazy thing about this is there's a whole community of submersibles, right? James Cameron, there was some interviews with James Cameron where he was talking about this, where like the entire submersible community, including James Cameron, were telling these people they were idiots, you know, because they like prided themselves on safety and being able to do this safely. And they can do this. This is like something they've been able to do for years now. This isn't like new technology to be able to like go down that deep. Like literally it's a whole community of
well, James Cameron went to the Mariana Trench, which is the deepest part in the sea. He had a whole document. I literally watched that documentary this afternoon, actually, now that you mention it. I just watched it.
So like the technology to go down that deep isn't new.
Correct.
What is new is a fucking idiot decided to cut every corner possible because we don't need to worry about all that. We could just go down, you know, to all the depths of the ocean without having any of these safety features. I just want to charge people $250,000 a pop to do it.
The one big thing, and he made that tube along with NASA also. The one big thing that was on this Titan sub that was not on James Cameron's sub, who went 7 miles down, was that the hull was made of carbon fiber on the Titan sub, and James Cameron's was pure, you know, steel forged in fire.
And that was a problem because that was one of the reports that I was hearing about was the issue with like they're like, oh well, it goes up into space. They're like, well, yeah, the pressure's different in space. You don't use carbon fiber to go way down into the ocean because it won't.
Right, because you're only breaking 1 atmosphere when you go up to space. But every 33 feet that you go down in the water is an atmosphere. So you're going down literally hundreds and hundreds of atmospheric pressure changes the deeper that you go and you go and you go.
Yeah,
but I want to play the clip because there's some video. This kid goes down on a little test run, and it's wild.
Coupled with some wind, a little choppy seas, we decided to scrub the dive for today. We're getting everybody back on board. Some of the team's still out there on the platform investigating that computer system. We'll debrief about it here in a couple hours and kind of reset and try again tomorrow.
So it just didn't seem quite right, to put it bluntly, and that's why I called it. But mostly because we've got to find out what this control problem is. That's sort of important, controlling the sub. It's up there with life support. And so we'll be working tonight on that. And if anybody'd like to help out, we're going to charge up the platform as well. So we'll do the low pressure air. We're going to go swap the pods and see if we can follow the problem to diagnose where it is. We have spare control pods. They're not the easiest things to change. So we'd have to pull the sub alongside and have the ship lift them. And yeah, Kyle, can you do let's give a little rundown here.
Yeah, there's orange 2 halves there, kind of the sphere. There's one on either side. That's kind of what we're focusing on right now.
They're the brains.
So that's obviously Stockton Rush, the CEO, who is no longer with us. R.I.P. Here is footage of the kid actually going down into the sub for a little practice run. I think they go down like actually no, they don't. They were supposed to go down 3,000 feet, but they go under, but they never quite get off, but you could see inside.
Have you ever had any water leaking in the trap?
You'll notice right here, they are bolting the hatch shut from the outside. this thing was not able to be opened from the inside. So
Yeah,
even
that's insane.
insanity, bro. My brain can't even compute that. That's how insane that is.
The hubris of this jackass.
Yeah, crazy.
What happens now is they'll put a vacuum on. Yeah.
All right.
There we go. We're sealed. We're in here. All right. All right. We're inside and sealed in the submarine. I'm excited. First time in a submarine. It looks really cool in here, too.
Tube, it's not that cool, dude.
I like what you do with the place. Looks cool. You should have seen my bonnet. Yeah. Keep in mind what you're looking at right now is the exact same submersible that imploded and killed 5 people. And also any footage you see of Stockton, of course, he's passed away by now. Tell him we're at 600 feet.
Titan is ready for dive.
Stockton's like, hold on, everybody. I guess we're about to go head first like this. Here we go. Oh, we're going right now? Watch out for the toilet. Oh, we're doing it. Oh my We are all upside down right now, you guys. See that? We're underwater.
Look how small that tube is, Ant.
They call that the Titan, and it's like
it's so small, man.
I don't know, man.
So we're officially underwater in a submarine right now. 33 feet, I believe, right? About 10 meters. Yep. 33 feet.
Are you ready for unlock, or are we unlocked? Is he saying we are unlocked, or are we ready for unlock?
Yes, say give him an okay. Give it in the dome. Yeah. So what does that mean? Looks like he's going to go pull the mechanical lock, and we're going to see how the pneumatic lock is doing. And there's a chance we'll pop off.
Still no pings from the top side.
Hey, Stockton, what are you using to control the submarine?
Did
you see the controller?
Locked in.
The video game controller. That's kind of
okay to lock in.
A video game controller. It's so wild. One more clip, which I wanted to show, which was great. The Dan Lebitard had Chris Brown on, who he's an explorer that pulled out and got his money.
Chris Brown, okay.
Yeah, not the Chris Brown that beats women. Completely different.
Okay, I'm about to say, like, I don't know. Why are we talking about that Chris Brown? What's he have to do with
not that Chris Brown, but this is a good one.
Thank you again for making the time for us. Tell me, though, why it is that you decided to not go down, and did you advise your friend not to go down?
Okay, so when you put a deposit on a high-ticket item, it's normal that you pay an initial deposit, and then there'll be a couple of milestones along the way where you pay a bit more. OceanGate continuously missed those milestones, which were related to depths that they got to with the new submersible, because it was an experimental craft. That's one flag. Secondly, I saw what they were using on the vessel when it was being tested in the Bahamas, using construction pipes as ballast. That's the kind of thing,
Can you imagine having the balls to charge $250K to go down to the Titanic, 3,800 meters down, where you could easily die, and have the chutzpah to use used construction pipe as your ballast?
Like I said, the dude's a moron. And when stupid people, honestly, it's like the old saying, play stupid games, win stupid prizes.
Yeah, fuck around and find out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, the guy's literally like the fuck around and find out champion of 2023.
Yeah, 100%.
If you and I, how do we get across this river? You go get the wood, I'll get the string, and we try and get across the river. Using construction pipe as ballast on such a thing to dive down to 3,800 meters That's another flag for me. They had an electrical strike on one of the testings. All of the electric equipment blew out. That's going to happen. Mother Earth decided it was going to strike it with lightning. But my question was, where's the redundancy? It completely stopped the testing. There should have been redundancy in there, and there should have been backup on the mothership that could replace those things. There's another flag. And then the final thing, the nail in the coffin for me, was it became evident that they weren't going to seek any form of certification for this craft, not to certify that it could get down to 3,800 meters, but more importantly, get down to 3,800 meters repeatedly. It's not steel, it's not iron, the traditional materials for going down to that depth. It's carbon fiber. And that was the final nail in the coffin. That's why I thought, these are the risks. I can't control any of those risks, and they're starting to pile up. You throw in
crazy, man, absolutely crazy.
What's insane is like when you see the video of the interview with the CEO, where he's literally just like flaunting, he's like making fun of safety. Where he's like, you got to live a little. Like it was the most bizarre interview I ever saw, because they were asking him about like the safety features, and he was all like, "Oh, you don't need all that regulations and all that bull crap. And what's safety? You go walk outside and get hit by a truck or something like that to that effect."
Right.
And it's that is the reason why, like, I don't feel bad that he died. I don't feel bad one little bit.
Yeah, I don't really either, to be honest. It's unfortunate that an 18-year-old kid passed away who didn't even, it's reported that he was like scared. He didn't even want to go. Like
I feel bad about the 18 or 19-year-old, but
yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to sit here and cry over dead billionaires. Honestly, I mean, we could probably get rid of about 150 more, and the world will probably be starting in a little bit better place.
So the New York Post, obviously, you would assume that this would happen. Titanic trips have been nixed after deadly sub disaster, and it will likely be years before excursions can resume. So, I mean, that does that really surprise you at all? No, I assumed what if that didn't happen, what was going to happen? You know what I mean?
Well, and James Cameron had that interview where he even said that like the entire submersible community, which has been around for a long time, because like they've been going to the Titanic for a while now. This is not new technology. Like they know how to get down there. This guy just wanted to cut corners. Is all it is. We've been going as a race. We've been going down there for decades. Like the first time they went to the Mariana Trench, I learned, was like in the 1950s, which is below the Titanic. So this isn't a new technology on how to get down there. This guy was just a jackass who didn't care about any of the safety features and who just wanted to cut corners because he thought he was smarter than everybody else. And now he's dead and good.
It did happen in the 60s. Two guys went down there. Jacques Piccard and a U.S. Navy guy. James Cameron was the third person to ever go down there. I don't know if anybody has gone down there since.
And James Cameron said that they were warning this dude from the beginning that he was messing up.
Yeah, he knew on the first day, he said, and he sent out emails to everybody in the community that said, "We've lost friends. They're gone."
Yeah, just like, so James Cameron was talking about like that. He said, like, we've been warning this company for a while now that what they're doing is ridiculous. They need to, and they've been flaunting it the whole time. They've been flaunting all the safety, everything else. So it's like, I'm sorry. I feel bad for the kid. Everyone should. But I mean, I don't feel bad that this guy, that it happened to that guy, the whatever his name is.
What do you expect to happen? His name's Stockton Rush. Fuck around and find out, man. That's it.
Yeah.
He fucked around and found out.
I mean, the memes online, it's been great. And honestly, a 19-year-old is a Zoomer, And I know the one thing I've known about meeting Gen Z and Zoomers is they're all nihilists, anyways. That entire generation. And if he knew that his death caused all these memes, he'd probably be happy about it.
And finally tonight,
it's an interesting generation, man. They're weird.
Trial date set in the Trump Florida documents case for August 14th. And finally happened.
I think they got to push it back.
Well, it just said August 14th, and this is from a couple days ago.
To the U.S. now, where a Florida judge has set an initial trial date for Donald Trump's classified documents case. It's August 14th, about 8 weeks away, and it's a date some legal experts are scratching their heads over. The CBC's Ethel Musa is tracking this story for us. She joins me now live from Washington. So, Ethel, what more can you tell us about this court date and why it's somewhat surprising?
Well, Arthi, it came as a bit of a surprise because experts did not expect the trial to begin so early, given the time needed to resolve some of the complicated legal issues before a jury starts hearing testimony.
He doesn't even have a lawyer.
On Monday,
What's that?
He doesn't even have a lawyer yet. He can't find a lawyer.
He can't find somebody to represent him.
Yeah, he's having issues finding lawyers. All of his lawyers either quit. He doesn't pay them. He's got to like find a lawyer with jurisdiction in Florida to like represent him. And it's like no one wants to fucking do it.
God bless his heart.
a federal judge approved a protective order sought by special counsel Jack Smith to keep Trump from disclosing
Can you
sensitive
imagine if Donald
information
Trump
in
had
his
to get a public
classified.
defender?
You know what that is? That's an episode of like Arrested Development.
Could you imagine Donald Trump has to get like a public defender? You get like some guy who's got like 75 cases on his docket, you know, some random drunk driving case, some like 17-year-old who sold weed, some gangbanger who committed like manslaughter or whatever, and then the former president of the United States. But he's like just showing up to court and all the lawyers are like, okay, like what's your defenses for Trump? And he's like sifting through all these other cases, like, oh wait, hold on, what's going on here? Can you imagine that shit? That'd be hilarious. If they just have to assign him a public defender because he can't get a lawyer.
It's like an episode of Arrested Development.
Classified documents case. Now, Trump is facing 37 counts in the indictment brought by Smith earlier this month. It alleges that the former president illegally retained national defense information, that he concealed documents and obstructed the Justice Department's investigation into the handling of those materials. Now, Trump pleaded not guilty last week, and now an initial trial date has been set. Although it is important to mention, Arthi, that this date is not set in stone. Lawyers for the former president could file motions asking for a delay because they need more time to prepare or for other reasons. People will be watching this case very, very closely. And not just because Trump is the first former president in U.S. history to face federal charges. The judge overseeing the case is Eileen Cannon. And she was appointed by the former president, and she sided with Trump in an earlier decision when he challenged the FBI's search.
It's so fitting that a lady that he presided, you know, he gave her the gig to preside over the bench, and she's going to be the judge overseeing his case. It's so fitting.
This whole document case is hilarious to me. Did you see the CNN today? It was either today or yesterday. They got the leaked audio recording where he's like literally just like showing some random lady the documents, like it was like Iran, like on the plans that they had to like attack Iran in case of whatever scenario. And he's all like, oh, yeah, so, you know, it's totally illegal for me to show you this. So here it is. Check this out. Super top secret, not declassified at all. Totally highest classification possible. Cannot be showing you this at all. Look at it. Look. Read what it says. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yep. Totally classified. 100% not legal for me to show you this at all. Here, read it and weep, lady. Yes, 100% classified document that I'm showing you right now. Cannot do this. I'm not the president. I can't declassify it. But if I was the president, I probably could, but I didn't. So here's this classified document on camera or on recording. Is it recording? Oh, it's totally recording. Here I am on recording telling you, ma'am, showing you. Here, listen to the ruffling of the papers as I show you this hyper classified document. It's like crimey, crime, crime. I'm committing crime on tape. Crime, crime, crime. Crimey, crime, crime. It's like, it's ridiculous.
Pause. Folks, that Donald Trump impression was so bad.
I don't know how he sounds, but it's funny as shit.
I mean, what else is there left to say? Did
you hear the tape?
I didn't hear the tape. But you know what? I got nothing else to say after that impression.
Basically, what the tape was Donald Trump pulled out the documents, showed them to the lady, told her how super classified and top secret they were, told her they were not declassified, they were totally classified, and he's not allowed to show anyone them, and he's not even allowed to still have them.
That sounds like an open and shut case.
It's 100%. It is a very open and shut case, and ever since this he got indicted, his poll numbers in the Republican primary have skyrocketed because
pulling for you, Donnie boy.
Because Republican voters are fucking retards. Like, it is what it is.
All right. That's episode 2 of Ant and Jay Save America. We'll see you next week. We're out. Later.